Denitha often dreamed of living above the ground, on the surface. She had even heard that there were cities, towns where people lived now above the ground in the northern country, in cities that were covered and protected from the environmental degradation. But all she knew was living underground. She was taught the first thing when she went to school why people had to live under the ground. She was told of the warnings that happened in the 21st century and how people didn't listen to the scientists, the environmentalists, the preachers, the peace activists, everyone who said we need to let go of nuclear weapons. We need to not use nuclear energy. Even after the disaster in the 21st century in Japan, no one paid any attention. Oh, they celebrated and commemorated the end of the conflict in Hiroshima, but they kept moving on, kept on ignoring all the signs. And some say it happened at the beginning of the 22nd century. Some say it was 100 years later. But once the disaster started, it was like a line of dominoes being pushed over, falling all over the world. First was the great earthquakes in California near nuclear plants. The disaster was complete and terrible. And then one after another, environmental disaster, explosions, fracking earthquakes, life-threatening high temperatures, coastal floods. The United States was being devastated, and around the world, other countries were fighting over little bits of land with nuclear arsenals and criminals. The destruction was terrible, but around the world, little groups of people gathered together and found ways to survive underground. And that was the history Denitha learned when she began school. Come back for another 3-minute story later this week. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe.